I've met a man who's tried it and his body rejected it.
Yes, but he still likes it. He still likes it, but his body rejects it because his body, it cannot compete with the nutrients and the vitamins that has been put into his body. And therefore, since his body's puny, the body's rejecting it because it can't handle being that buff.
Being that swole. That's what's keeping us on the planet. It's not gravity, it's not static electricity, it's Ovaltine. The pure vitamins and minerals are keeping us grounded. Maybe he got a little too cozy with some of these birds.
Only explanation I have in where a Fiat Uno could keep up with a Mercedes S280, okay?
It's not that I wouldn't fight Mothman. I would beat the shit out of him.
We're seasoned.
So wait, you mean to tell me they have a festival commemorating the day a man got his shit rocked by an extraterrestrial carrot?
My neighbors across the street, they are not real.
But a pyramid is the most boring shape.
Part Sasquatch, part trickster midget. What's going on, guys? Thank you for joining us in the Conspiracy Kitchen, where we uncover the secret ingredients behind life's daily mysteries. I'm your head chef, Joe, and as always, I'm accompanied by my sous chef, Josh, the Cryptid Killer.
Hi, everyone.
And welcome back, Josh. We get to record now. It's a little later in the week, obviously, but Josh was away for his birthday. Happy birthday, Josh.
Thank you.
He went down to Disney and probably got brainwashed again. So that's what took him so long to come back on here.
It didn't get
so
brainwashed.
What happened down there?
You know what? I'm going to say it. I didn't buy anything.
Oh, no way.
I bought food. Like I said I was going to. I didn't buy one useless item at all.
Not a backpack.
No, and there was a lot of stuff I wanted, but I stopped myself.
How did you overcome the mental tactics that Disney offers does to persuade you and trick you into buying their products?
It was very simple. As soon as I saw an item that I really wanted and I was about to buy it, I stopped myself and I ran and I got food instead. Healthy? Not even close. Delicious? Absolutely.
So you spent just as much money, but you just...
Probably more, yeah.
You just ingested it and consumed it instead of purchasing something to bring home.
Dude, I ate so much down there. We did go for my birthday, which was Wednesday the 5th. So we got up super early, got the Uber. TSA was nothing. The line was easy. Looks like they bounced back from the shutdown, so they figured out how to work the lines again. I know it's been an issue at a lot of airports. But we got down there, reasonable time. Had the whole day in the park. Started off in Magic Kingdom. Immediately get through the park gates and beeline it for the spring roll cart. We had that planned for like a month. And then, as is tradition for us, we jump on Haunted Mansion as our first ride. Mm-hmm. So then my birthday dinner, my wife had scheduled everything. She's like, what do you want to eat for your birthday? We ate at this one place that they serve Thanksgiving meals, and it's like they just keep bringing you food. So we went there, and it was delicious. And for dessert, they bring you like this big sticky toffee pudding, which I devoured, and then proceeded to ride more rides. And then I felt so bad because we spent the evening in the hotel room sleeping the afternoon, because I had a blood pressure headache. But I'm like, went a little too hard. But yeah, no, the rest of the week we just fucking rides and food, and every restaurant we went to, we made sure to book one that they just keep bringing you fucking food. And, we were only going to go for 3 days, and I got off the plane, and we don't sit together on the plane because we both like aisle seats, so we're never next to each other. But I was like, hey, wouldn't it be crazy if we just did an extra day? And it was just me talking out loud. And right away she goes and she changes our flights to the following day. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? I didn't even call my boss yet. What's happening? She's like, well, you have to now. So I, I had to message my boss. Of course, he doesn't respond till the following day, making me like panic. And then changed our reservations and all that shit. But no, it was a good time.
You probably could have easily got away with, I got stuck in the airport. Oh, no.
No, I told him, I was like, look, I didn't realize my wife booked an extra day. Is it okay if I just come back Sunday? And then no response. I was having a panic attack for like the whole day. And then finally the following day, he's like, oh yeah, I forgot to hit send. Yeah, it's fine. I'm like, God damn it. Like, you son of a bitch.
So no mishaps? No overspending on backpacks? I mean, it probably wasn't as hot, right, down there now.
Not really. It was like in the low 80s. It was actually pretty nice.
Yeah, so you don't have to worry about having to get hydration every 10 seconds, and then you had to buy the backpack to carry all the water bottles, and so yeah, they hope you go there during the summer so they can really rail you.
They really do. That's their busy season, oddly enough.
Yeah.
But fuck it, we got screwed on our last park day because we went to we started the day in Epcot. No, I'm sorry, Hollywood Studios. Did that for several hours, and then we're like, oh, let's just finish up at Magic Kingdom. So we went back there, and at like 6 o'clock, they start closing shit off, and we're like, the fuck is going on? And then everyone's like asking to see our wristbands, and we're like, we don't have fucking wristbands. What is this shit? And then all the rides are blocked unless you have a wristband. We're like, what the fuck is happening? And they're like, oh, it's Mickey's Merry Bullshit Christmas Party. And like, the fuck does that mean? Like, oh, it's special party, you need a wristband, and you gotta pay extra and all this shit. And like, well, we're not doing that. So we left the park, and we only had like 2 hours left. So we're like, fuck it. We still have, fast passes to use. Let's go to Epcot and just finish it up there. So we asked the woman who was at the front gate of Magic Kingdom, we're like, yo, is the monorail like the train? I was like, is that the fastest way to Epcot? She's like, oh yeah, that's the quickest. It's not. It's not in the slightest. We must have waited. It took us like 45 minutes just to get there with this stupid waiting for the train. And we could have just taken the bus. It would have been quicker. But we finally got there. We did our rides. We went back to the hotel, passed out, and that was our Disney trip. I know you guys were hoping for more, but no.
You didn't fight Mickey?
I didn't see Mickey. Oddly enough. But, yeah, no, they're just... And I know I'm a Disney adult. I know this. I know people will make fun of that. I could give a shit. There's worse people that go than me. And I'll explain. So you have the normal Disney adults like us, where we're just like, happy to be there, and we're very courteous. We let people walk past us, and we're like, oh, yeah, excuse us, sorry. But then there's other people that act like it's like they've been in captivity all their lives and just let loose that morning. And they will walk around just carrying churros and bumping into people. Like, well, get out of my way. It's like, all right. And a lot of the time they're on the fucking the hover around scooters, like the jazzy scooters. And they don't need them. They're just lazy. But, oh my God. If you don't let them go in front of you, boy, they'll let you know how frustrated they are. Oh my God. And then the flight coming back, TSA was a little long, but we got through it. The guy who was checking passports and boarding passes was too excited for that early in the morning. And he was like, hey man, you flying today? Oh, it was your birthday. Happy birthday. I'm like, just give me the fucking thing. Get out of the way. And then we're waiting to board the plane. And like, those of you who don't fly, let me tell you how this works. how it's supposed to work. You go to your gate and you sit down. You sit the fuck down. And you stay seated until they call your group. When they call your group, then you go and get in the line. That's how it's supposed to work. Now, let me tell you what happened. We were sitting, and they start calling groups. But everyone and their mother, people I'm, convinced aren't even on the flight, show up to stand at this fucking line and block the entire gate. And they kept yelling like, hey, you guys got to move back because people can't get through. And then nobody budged at all. And finally, they're like, all right, here's how this is going to work. If you don't all back up, we're not boarding this flight and it's probably going to get canceled. And then people were like, oh, we better move back. Everyone took one step back. That's as far as they were willing to go. So they was just like, ugh. So after a good 45 minutes there, we were getting on the plane and we came home. But it was just like, I've never seen such a shit show at an airport. Oh my God. And I know you all were just so excited for my Disney story, but that was it. I know it's not much, but...
Okay.
That, and I did hear a woman say something very strange when I was in line. She was talking to her friend about some restaurant or some bullshit, and she's like, oh yeah, I have one of those. It's only 20 leagues away from me. I'm like, 20 leagues? What are you, a fish? What does that mean? Who measures how far a restaurant is by leagues?
I never heard of that.
It was the most insane. It was the most insane goddamn thing I've ever heard, and I stopped walking when I heard that. And I was like, what?
How far is that?
Yeah, I don't even know. Leagues to miles. How far? Oh, Jesus Christ.
Let's ask.
Because sometimes you just want to stop and tell some stranger, like, hey, I just need to let you know. What you just said is one of the dumbest things I've ever heard a person utter.
Yeah, 20 leagues is 60 nautical miles. I don't know. Whatever it is, that doesn't make sense. Unless, I guess there were ships. I don't know. I don't know.
Size-wise, she was pretty close.
Wow.
What does that mean? Fuck you. She was holding a turkey leg in line for a ride. God damn it.
That's it? That's all you got from Disney?
Nothing. Not much happened. Not much really
happened.
We stayed
Just
at
a nice quiet birthday.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. We stayed at this one resort, Pop Century, which there's several different, time periods you could stay in. They got like a 50s building and a 70s building. We were in the 90s building, and then the last night, since we added a night, they had to change our room to the 50s or like whatever. And then you take the Skyliner, which is just a gondola that sounds broken, which is kind of terrifying as you're going over a lake. You're like, this fucking thing's about to fall out of the sky. And then when it comes into, where you get out, it fucking amps up like 30 miles an hour and then just slams on the brakes and you like shake a lot. You're like, what the fuck? But other than that, I wore a birthday pin so everybody would say happy birthday to me, and I got free dessert. I got free dessert.
Nice. What'd you get?
Cupcakes and more cupcakes and then ice cream and all kinds of shit. It was delicious.
See, my favorite dessert for like that would be a nice like fudge brownie, like with just oozing chocolate and like vanilla ice cream with it. That's just I'm a brownie a la mode.
Perfect dessert.
Perfect dessert.
The one notable dessert I had there, I think you could only find it at that resort. was a big croissant, like a fucking big croissant, and it was
Croissant.
filled with peanut butter and jelly.
Oh.
And I fucking devoured that thing.
Nice.
But yeah, so that was Disney.
Well, glad you had fun.
I'm sure we'll be back there in a few months.
So let's the whole point of this episode now. We had Josh's thing, but the main reason for tonight's episode is I believe we're going to start a little flat Earth series, if you will, with these. This will be like the intro, the overview, whatever, and then we'll go into different claims of the flat Earthers. Have some flat Earthers on the podcast. As of right now, we have one flat Earther coming on. I'm sure people know him. A lot of people know him. Flat Earth Dave. We'll be doing an interview with him December 30th, and we'll get that episode out for the new year. Just to, that's just one, and we're going to be getting more going on after that. Now, I believe in the globe, and I believe Josh believes in the globe, right?
Yeah.
But our opinion for you guys doesn't really matter. I wouldn't say that, right? Like, it doesn't really matter. We want to give out the evidence, or the if you call it evidence, what they believe, what the globe says, and let our listeners, you guys, kind of decide what you feel yourselves. Because I don't want to. I listen to some of these globe guys when they're talking to flat earthers, and they just like bash. If you believe in flat Earth, they just make you feel like you're a piece of shit. That's not what I want to do here, But I just for the record, just before we get into this, I am a globe believer. It's just me. Now, Josh, he's a globe. I've looked into this. I think I've studied this more than Josh. So I just wanted to ask Josh off the rip what he thinks flat Earth is to begin with. And then we can we'll go into this overview. I'll break down stuff. We'll go over all broadly go over all the information they kind of give out. Let you guys decide, and then later on in certain episodes, we might not do them one after the other. We'll break it up a little bit, but we'll get into specific details on specific topics to, kind of break them down, debunk them if you can, and whatnot, and then have the interviews as well. So, Josh, what do you think it is?
False.
Yeah.
No, so here's my thing. If we have a guest on that, is going to talk to us from the point of view of a flat earther, I am not going to shit talk. I'm not going to do anything of the sort. I want to have a real conversation because I feel like that's how we grow.
Yes.
So I'm not going to be a dick, contrary to popular belief.
Now, what the cryptids say.
Well, they're dead, so. No, I mean, flat Earth, it's a cool concept. I'll give it that. To think that we live on a big disc surrounded by ice is a cool concept, especially when you see the maps that these people come up with, and there's like more land masses that we don't know. I think that's awesome. If that's real, I would love that. It's not, but it'd be pretty damn sweet.
Yeah. So they believe. See, I don't even like calling it flat Earth, and they use flat Earth a lot, but it's not flat. We know it's not flat. We can see it's not flat. I would prefer calling it like a topographical plane. It's just a never-ending plane in all directions, and we're inside this ice wall, which they claim to be Antarctica. Antarctica surrounds our known world and keeps all the waters, and it contains the waters. And the reason they have that is because they claim water needs a container, right? That's the first thing they try to claim. Water needs a container, and water always finds its level. Those are their big talking points. And the fact is they don't believe in gravity. So the water needs to be contained by something, or it'll just, flow away. So that's their main thing. And then past that, they believe when you're looking into the sky and you're seeing these other planets, Mars, Venus, and them. Some of them anyway. Others, claim they don't really know what they are. They're just luminaries. You can't get to them. You can't touch them. So they won't make claims on what they are. Some believe that it's actually reflections of the other lands outside of the ice wall reflecting off the dome. You know what I mean?
How?
Well, I don't know. That's their claim. It could be, reflecting off the dome. These other lands have their own local suns that light them up, and I guess however it works, the light shining off those lands reflects off the dome above, and then we see them in the sky because of the reflection of the dome, and what we would say they're planets.
So, all right. Here's my first question. Say it is flat, surrounded by an ice wall. What's underneath? Nothing?
They don't answer that because I'll tell you why they don't answer it. And I know when we talk to Flat Earth Dave, he's going to bring this up too. The deepest hole we've ever dug was just under 8 miles deep. And we reached an impenetrable barrier, according to him. If you look it up, the U.S. and Russia tried to dig this hole, and they couldn't dig any farther. Now, when they were digging down, before that, they're using ground-penetrating radar, and they're, based on what his story was, they would say, oh, there's no more water, the radar doesn't show it, and then boom, they'd find more water. Or there's no more rocks, boom, they find no rocks. That's why he believes also that there's no core. How can they predict the core being this molten ball spinning around, creating our magnetic field, if we can't even tell what's in the ground 8 miles deep? So they don't have a claim to what it is because they can't get to it. You know what I mean? If they can't explain something, or if something's hard to explain, they will just say, I don't know, because we can't physically see it, or we can't physically grasp it. We can't physically touch it and determine what it is with our senses.
So, because they can't do it, it's all right.
Yeah, they don't have any. I mean, some of them go by, kind of taking stuff from the Bible. It's on foundations fixed. I know a lot of flat earthers that use the Bible for that. Now, Flat Earth Dave and others, they claim that they don't use religion for it. It's just what they see. How it appears to them is flat and non-moving, stationary. Therefore, it is flat and not stationary.
Yeah, see, in a way, I do side with them on, if I could see it, I could touch it, it's real, kind of thing. Like, they see it's like, oh, it's flat. That's what I see. That's what I feel. But, I don't know. There's so many things. Like, everyone says NASA's a liar, the pictures from space are lies. But it's like, for what? What? Why would they? What do they get out of it?
So, this is a big thing for them too. They talk about. So, the lying thing too. They claim that when you're watching videos from the space station, as astronauts leave the frame, they slowly vanish instead of just going off frame. They claim that, like, when they're reaching for stuff, sometimes it goes through their hand. And what they're saying is that this is live streamed, and it's augmented reality with multiple layers. And sometimes they fuck up when they go to reach for something that's not there, because it's augmented. So they're just in a green screen room, and they miss it, and it goes through their hand and stuff like that. That's what they claim. And I've heard, like, Witsit, he claims that NASA has many partnerships or with harness makers that make small harnesses that are hard to pick up, mostly for, like, special effects in movies. These other type of augmented reality companies that can create augmented reality. Now, the harness thing I can kind of see, because you train on Earth first before going to the space station. Therefore, they put you in a harness to, reduce your gravity when you're moving around, for training for spacewalks, or training for, getting into the shuttles or into the space station and stuff like that. So I can understand maybe the harness thing. The augmented reality thing, I'm not sure. I'd have to look into that. That's something that's intriguing to me, and I didn't realize. Now, your question being, what do they get out of it?
Mm-hmm.
They bring it up a lot too. Well, what they get out of it is that there's all this other land outside of what we have with basically boundless resources. They would hide it from us so that we don't, because it would completely lower the price of energy. There's boundless energy out there. So to keep us in this contained system where we have to put out, money towards, your electric bill, if you have heating oil in your house or natural gas, gas for your vehicles and stuff like that. If you had boundless supply, the cost of it would plummet. Supply and demand, basic economics. Therefore, they don't want you to know about these things. So they hide it so that it gives them more power. And also because the other thing is that they could say they're hiding the fact that we're the center of the universe because they don't want us to feel special. They don't want us to feel empowered so that they can control us.
I don't think we're the center of the universe. We're not interesting enough.
No, I mean, observably, we can be. So they use it a lot too. Now, observably, we would look like we're the center of the universe. So that's because light travels at a finite speed. And as of right now, however many, I guess I don't think it's trillions yet, but billions of light years away, we can see hundreds of billions of light years to see. It would be the same distance in all directions because that's how light travels at a certain speed. So we would look like, from our point of view, there's a perfect circle around us and we'd be the center, but that's not the case because I don't think it is the case. For me, that would be the start of the Big Bang. Wherever the Big Bang took place would be the center of the universe, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think the center of the universe per se would be an important part more so than any other part. It would just be the oldest part. You know what I mean? There has to be a center at some point. Like everything has to have a center. It doesn't necessarily mean that's the most important thing or you're the special boy because you're in the center. Right?
Special boy. Always a special boy out there in space.
You know what I'm saying though? But I mean, they make arguments that can kind of get you thinking.
That's fair enough. See, I do want to be... I want someone to change my mind. I really do. I'm super open to it. I know I don't sound like it, but it's because I'm an asshole. I am really open to it. Like, hey, if you could make me a flat earther, change my mind. Please.
Yeah. Yeah. And like you were saying before, I've been looking at some of these maps and I honestly do think they're pretty interesting. You have the ice ring and then outside them you have like Atlantis and all these other, which would completely destroy some other theories of Atlantis that we've talked about previously. But they're, outside the wall and then there's another wall and there's just huge. I mean, did I send you the one map? Maybe I didn't. It was massive. Like just massive amounts of land and everything outside with different types of, basically based off Greek mythology and stuff like that, which would be, is interesting to me. Greek mythology has always been interesting to me.
Sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to say, I've seen a lot of those maps because there's a lot of those online. And they're very interesting right up until I start recognizing places from Lord of the Rings. And it's like, oh, this is Atlantis, and this is that. It's like, oh, Rivendell, I know where you are. Like, Jesus Christ. Look, the Shire. Oh, fuck.
Well, maybe they're just based, that's because they, Hollywood has, there's elites in Hollywood, and they've ventured outside this ice wall, and they know the other areas, and that's where they got their inspiration for, Lord of the Rings from.
So, hobbits are real. You heard it here first.
Maybe.
Sorry, little people.
Little people. So some of the biggest problems I have with this, plane, ever expanding plane in all directions that we're supposed to live on is stars, how the sun appears to move. Now, obviously, I already know I've watched enough of Flat Earth Day to know he's going to say we don't look at the ceiling lights to determine the shape of the floor. He likes to say that a lot. But I know that that's how we determined it thousands of years ago, that we knew that this was some kind of spherical planet that we live on based on how light moves, how the stars move and react to certain things. Now, if you're in the northern hemisphere like we are, when you look at it, the stars are going to move in a clockwise. Clockwise? Is it clockwise for us? Clockwise pattern. And if you flip and you go down to Australia, they're going to go the opposite way. They're going to go counterclockwise when you look up at the sky. They don't have a reason for that. They can never come up with a reason for that. And if you look at a ball and you spin a ball, you can clearly see that that's the reason for it, right? When you're standing on top of the ball and you're spinning it, it looks like it's going one way, and then you just, flip the ball over and it's going the other way. It's a perfect example of what I believe would be a proof that we're on a globe.
And they don't have any argument against it?
The one they usually try to avoid that question. The one I've kind of heard is that, you're just looking at it from a different direction, so it appears to come from your other shoulder than your other shoulder because you're facing the other way, but it doesn't make sense. Like, if you put, to quote Professor Dave, you put a clock on the ceiling, no matter how the fuck you look at it, it's going clockwise. You know what I mean? They kind of claim looking from different directions or whatever, the bullshit. That is something that I'm going to specifically ask Dave when we do go on and have him on here to see if he comes up with a better answer than just it's because you're looking the other way. You're facing the other way, because it's not going to matter to me. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't matter which way you're looking.
Right.
I don't think.
So right there, fucking debunked it.
Unless he can come up with a good explanation.
I hope he does.
Something better than what I've heard. The sun, right?
Mm-hmm.
We know that it circles. We circle the sun, and we rotate along at that axis, and that's how we get the days in this. And we rotate around the sun, and that's how we get our year. It doesn't really make sense on flat or the plane, because they say that there's the two tropics of Cancer and the Tropic of Capricorn, and the sun for the northern winter will be farther south, and then for the northern summer it'll come back up more north and stay between those two tropics, and in the middle is the equator. That's why it's always warmer there, because it's always in between those two spots, and that's why it's warmer in the summer, because the sun's over us and then the sun's over the south. However, looking at this, for the sun to do that, if it moves south on this, they use the Gleason map as basically what it looks like. If you move south, the sun now has to travel a larger distance, but we know that days don't change. They're 24 hours, right? So that means it would have to speed up, and we don't see that happen. We don't observe a faster speed for the sun as it's going around during the winter. In fact, we get shorter days in the winter. We don't see this faster sun moving through the sky. So that's another thing I'm going to have to really, what is your excuse for why this doesn't appear to be what it is?
Don't see there being a logical answer.
He'll surprise you.
I hope so. I'm not trying to be a dick. I hope he does.
He might surprise you on that.
I'm looking again at a map with all the lands outside the ice wall. But
yeah, if you want to know what they use the Gleason map. That's like their biggest. That's like what they kind of believe to be the flat Earth. The Gleason map. The other thing they like to say a lot, and it doesn't work. And I get this on the Flat Earth pages on Facebook. If you know that, if you follow us on Facebook, you know that I fight with a lot of flat earthers on the globe versus flat Earth, or flat Earth versus spherical Earth official page. They claim Well, if we're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour at the equator, how do we not feel that? That's the rotation of the Earth. That's a linear speed that should be, what they would calculate the linear speed to be if we're spinning around to be able to do what we're doing, to rotate within that 24 hours. But the fact of the matter is, it's a sphere that's rotating. Linear speed is not applicable, really, for that issue. It's rotations per minute, because it's rotating. And rotations per minute would be 0.000694 RPM. That's the fact. So if you take something, I want you to find a carousel, and I want you to rotate it at 0.000694 rotations per minute. Make it take 1 day to go all the way around. And you'll tell me if you can feel it or not. Because you can't. It's too. You're not even going to see it move.
No.
You know what I mean? That's where that's when they start throwing these numbers at you. 1,000 miles per hour. You're spinning at 1,000 miles per hour. You're rotating the sun at 66,600 miles an hour, and then you're chasing after the sun because the sun's going through the galaxy at 540,000 miles per hour, and you're rotating around and changing direction. You're supposed to be able to feel that. That's their big claim. And I think the main issue with that is they don't understand scale. You know what I mean? Like, everything is so gigantic.
Yeah. And they think that if you're standing and you just jump, the world flies underneath you.
They do. They do. They don't understand how. Well, you jump. Look, we don't sense speed. Speed is not a force. Acceleration is a force. A change in speed or direction is what we'll feel. But the change in direction is so drawn out as we rotate. And we're so small compared to the size of the Earth to begin with. It's just, you're not going to feel it. You're not going to feel it.
No, but if you're in a helicopter and you fly straight up, you come straight down. Technically, you shouldn't be able to land in the same spot.
Yeah, because that's their one claim, and they don't understand that the atmosphere and the gas and the air around us are all moving at that same constant speed. So that's why everything's together moving. Like if you're on a train or in a plane and you're up there at cruising speed, 500 miles per hour or whatever, you can get up and walk through the cabin, right? Mm-hmm. You don't just get whipped around. You know what I mean? Once you're at that steady speed, or the speed with no more acceleration, no more change, you can jump up and down.
I've done
Josh, if on your way back from Disney, if you jumped up, would you have been whipped back to the tail of the plane?
No, I would have been yelled at.
Yeah, but you don't feel anything, right?
You don't feel anything. You're in a plane, fucking 35,000 feet in the air, going however fast you're going. You gotta take a piss. You get up. You walk to that bathroom. You don't worry about getting thrown. Nonsense.
Yeah, and when you walk into the front to the back and the back to the front, no matter which way you're going, it doesn't change how long it takes you to get there either, does it?
No, it's same speed.
Same speed. That's what they don't understand. They think if you're flying, because the Earth's rotating, they think if you're flying against the rotation, it should take you way longer to get anywhere than with the rotation. And with the rotation, it would be shorter, or vice versa. I guess against it should be quicker because it comes to you too. And it doesn't work. It's not how it works. Everything's moving at the same constant speed. There's momentum with everything. Everything's just moving. So it's never going to happen. Never. It doesn't work. Those are the ones that are easily, debunked. The stuff like that they try to bring up. The harder stuff that they bring up is Earth curvature, trying to determine it. And yeah, they have. I don't know, would you call it excellent points? It's hard to see it because of how massive the Earth is. So if you use a formula for short distances, you can do 8 inches per mile squared, and that should give you the curvature of the Earth. But I think a big problem that these flat earthers have is that they think it's just this bulge in between you and whatever you're looking at over a distance as the curve. They don't realize it just drops off from your feet down. It's not this bump in front of you. There's no big bump in front of you between two things that makes like a 18-mile bulge, they like to say, or whatever. It curves down from you. I think that's a misconception they have. But there's claims, and these are things I'm going to have to look into, and I'm going to have to talk to Dave about, and maybe we'll do our own, I want you to talk to Dave, maybe we'll do our own experiments on some of this, that we can see entirely too far. Now, again, I haven't been able to verify any of these experiments they do or whatever, but they claim that, like, when you're shooting a laser 3 feet off the ground in some salt flats, you shouldn't be able to see it past a certain amount of feet or miles. 6 miles maybe. I'd have to look at the formula, but I believe it's 6. But they're picking it up at 15 miles away. So then we got to look into that, right? That's something we'd have to check as globies. We can't just say that's a proof that the Earth's flat. That's something we're gonna have to look into now and come up with a reasonable explanation. We'd have to be able to prove that it could work on a globe, because it's working on a globe, because the Earth's globe. But that's where I think it falls off with some of these other people that try to talk to globe people or flat Earth people, the globies, is they just attack for that kind of a thing, call them stupid.
Yeah.
And even though I'm a globe guy, you're a globe guy, I don't believe that's the right way of doing things. You know what I mean? They came forward with some kind of evidence that shows an anomaly that wouldn't necessarily make sense on a globe. It's now our burden to try to prove that it can work on a globe, if that makes sense.
I'm a big science guy. I'm all about finding the facts, even if that means I myself am wrong. So I would love to do experiments on that, and I hate when people immediately just start talking down to the other person because they don't agree. Shit's annoying.
Yeah. And it happens a lot in these globe versus flat Earth debates. The globies just like, you failed science, you don't know middle school or elementary science, and they just start attack. But there's reasons why, especially like the whole NASA thing and the government thing. You don't just for no reason have a distrust in government agencies. They give you a reason for it. You know what I mean? It's kind of on them for the reason why these things exist in the first place. This distrust exists in the first place is because they give you a reason to do it. They give you a reason to distrust. Mm-hmm. So I understand where they're coming from. And then when they try to find, it's flat, it's observably flat, it doesn't look like it's moving, let's go out and get evidence to prove that it's flat. And they come forward with stuff like these laser tests. Yeah, okay, they've given you some kind of actual proof. It's, as a globe person, instead of just calling them a stupid idiot, it's now your job to go out there and be like, listen, this is why it could happen on a globe. And sometimes they do this. There's some light refraction, but again, I don't know enough about light refraction to say if that's a good enough claim, because I don't know, because some people show like seeing things way too far. I mean, is it that much light refraction bringing it up several miles from behind the curve?
No.
It's something, again, we're going to have to look at.
I don't know. I don't know enough to make the claim, but I just feel it in my gut. We're on a ball.
Dave is going to rip you apart.
It's fine.
Just feel it in your gut. I mean, for me, I get to work on the beach a lot. There's a lot of projects that happen on the beach, especially these beach replenishment jobs. So we have equipment out there, And especially generators, they get the shit beat out of them by the salty air and the sand and everything. So I work on them a lot, usually replacing stators and stuff like that, voltage regulators. So when I'm on the beach, and they claim I'm not seeing it correctly, but when I'm on the beach, I do see ships appear to go over the horizon, bottom up. And that's like a huge thing when I see this, is like, yeah, this shows me I'm on a globe, right? That they're going over the curve, which is not over curve. Like I think that's a misconception. And that's why they say over, and I think they believe it's a hump. It's going down under the curve, really, if you will. So that as it keeps going, it's curving away from us, and then you can no longer see it because it's bottom up, because it's going behind the curve of the Earth. I see this a lot. And they claim, and I don't have a powerful enough camera for this, they claim you can get a powerful enough camera like a P1000 and zoom back in the bottom of the ship.
See, here's a way to... So here's what you would need. You would need a laser that had the power enough to reach the ship as far as it can go. And then you have a sensor that the laser hits, and once that laser stops hitting that sensor, the ship's over the curve of the Earth. So you just keep shining that laser until the ship is over the curve, and once that laser goes, up or down, whichever the fuck way, that's how you know there's a curve. If it doesn't, then shit's flat.
Yeah. They claim... They also claim, though, a reason these objects, like if you're watching a building disappear as you're moving away over in a ship away from the shore, or if you've seen the ship go, the reason they go away from bottom up is that your angle of attack, they call it, their vision attack, when you're looking at an object, the top is in thinner atmosphere than the bottom. And if any flat earthers are out there that are listening to this and I'm saying this wrong, correct me if you want in the comments. And then as you get closer to the water, the atmosphere is its thickest and it becomes opaque and you can't see through it, and hence the reason why you don't see the bottom compared to seeing the top of it. The top's in thinner atmosphere compared to the bottom, and it's harder to see with your angle of attack, your vision looking down on it, because they say perspective, as something moves away, or as you see farther away, the sides come in, the bottom rises, the top goes down, right, into a point in the distance. And they believe that as it's doing that, the bottom is a harder angle to see because of the atmosphere and your angle of view, that the bottom appears to go away first.
See, I don't know. I don't know.
But for me, claiming something like that, there's things that are fucking massive that are going over the curve or below the curve, and you see it clear, the top of it clear as day, and it's just an abrupt line where you don't see it anymore. I feel like it wouldn't be such an abrupt line. It would be it would vary as it goes down to not being able to see it, if it was something to do with atmosphere, right? Because the density increases as it goes up, or as it goes down, you lose, it gets thinner as you go up. So it should be a gradient. And that's what I would feel. It'd be a gradient. So then as it goes down, it would be, clear, crystal clear, and then it starts to blur into opaque and not being able to see it. That's how I feel like it would be. It wouldn't be this crisp line straight across when you're looking out there at something massive like the sun. Like when you see the sunset, it's a straight line across that sun, right?
Yeah.
And that's why I wouldn't see it as such a defined line. I feel like if it was something like that, it would be a gradient, like I said, of fade.
So it's all about size.
Even something smaller, but something massive, you definitely see this defined line, this massive, like the sun, and then you see that line. I mean, even something smaller, but it's harder to see with our fucking puny eyes. to see these things unless we get one of these cameras, $1,200 camera, to be able to perform these tests that they perform where they can zoom stuff back in over the horizon, quote unquote, zoom it back in over the horizon. Because they're saying that horizon isn't a physical barrier, it's an optical barrier. And I believe Flat Earth, they calls it horizontal eye. How do you put it? Horizon's horizontal eye zone. Horizontal eye zone. Horizon. That's what he says it stands for. It's not curveizon. It's horizon. Horizontal, not curved. That's one of his things too he talks about.
Fucking play on words. God damn it.
Yeah.
There's...
I think you mentioned before we started recording, I don't think you brought it up during the recording, that flat earthers believe the plane is accelerating upwards at the speed of which gravity pulls things down, right?
Yeah, they don't believe in gravity, but they believe that we're just constantly moving upward.
Exactly. So none of the flat earthers believe in gravity. However, that one is not something like these prominent flat earth people believe in. The 9.8 meters per second squared acceleration for falling objects. They do not believe that the planet or the plane is always rising up at that speed, accelerating, because we'd be at this point, I mean, come on. We'd be faster than the speed of light. You know what I mean? Yeah. How long we've been accelerating forever. That's the Flat Earth Society. Now, according to these more prominent flat earthers, the Flat Earth Society was made by government agents or something to make the flat earthers, the real ones, look like idiots. So that's where they come up with these stupid things where they have like the plane accelerating infinitely up into the sky to push down, so you're always being pushed against it. The pictures of like the floating pizza in space with the water flying off the sides. They believe those are made by idiot undercover flat earthers that are actually globe people to discredit their work and make them look dumb.
Well, my question is, if we're constantly flying upward, what happens when we come across another planet above us?
There's no other planets.
There's no other planets?
Yeah, so flat earthers really don't believe in planets. Like I was mentioned before, they think a lot of this is like like what we see in the air. These luminaries are either other lands around us reflecting off the dome, or some kind of celestial body inside the firmament. Because apparently the sun and the moon now, I always thought they were inside the firmament, but they claim that it's within the firmament, circling around, which then again adds a lot more questions than answers, because now if it's inside the firmament, it's a dome, and it's within, I guess, space in between it. As it moves north for the summer for us, it would have to go up too, right? Because it'd be following the curve of the dome up, which would make it still farther away. As it comes down, it's getting closer to the planet or the plane, and moving south, and then as it moves north, it gets farther away. It would add more problems, if you will, right? But that's how they can only get away. That's how they can get away with showing the differences in how it's not always a 12-hour day, 12-hour night. The coffee cup effect, I believe they call it. So as like the sun moves down, if it's inside, because they do an experiment, or they show this some kind of visual where they put this glass dome over a paper earth, a flat paper earth, and they can shine this light through it, and they can get it so that like the 24-hour light on the ring is on, and then like some certain spots are lit up and certain spots aren't, to kind of try to match what actually happens with sunlight. So they now moved it from being within the firmament to meaning like under the firmament to now within the firmament, and the firmament is apparently not just a thin dome, but some kind of thing that houses the stars and the moon and the sun.
I don't understand. What do they think is outside of that?
Water.
Oh,
Some people say water because the Bible, the water's above and below. I forgot what this passage it was. There's a firmament that separates the waters from above and below.
oh.
And so that's why they're saying, oh, if you look at some of these, I forgot the guy's name. He's another guy on Facebook. If you look at these planets through like a camera, because for some reason they won't get telescopes. I guess they're lies. If you look at these planets through these cameras, you'll see they look like kind of almost like octagons, and they have all these weird lines through them, and they compare them to being, oh, it's like electrostatics in water. And that's what it look kind of gives you a similar look, because they don't look through a telescope. They look through a digital camera that alters it as it's trying to enhance it and stuff like that.
See, I think I just have like a childlike mind where I question like, and then what? And then what? Now what's
Oh,
outside of
no.
that?
Well, no, that's actually healthy. And I'm not saying flat earthers are, like the worst people or just something they shouldn't believe in. Because I like I mentioned before we started recording, I think asking questions is like the best thing. It's a healthy thing to do. Always questioning, and that's what science really should be. Always questioning the narrative. Always questioning what we have set forth. Is this really right? Let's question it. Let's try to scrutinize it, and always try to debunk what you're proving in science, because that's what helps you better understand and grasp it, and make it so that you can't debunk it. Right? Like the Harvard scientist saying that 3i Atlas could be some kind of alien probe, and just having that question out there. He wasn't saying aliens are coming to kill us. He was just saying it could be an intelligent design from another planet probe. No one on it, just a probe like we send out.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, oh, maybe 30% could be. He's not saying it is. It's 70% still an asteroid. But he had colleagues and other scientists freaking send him death threats through email because he was just questioning something. And that's what science is. It's questioning. So that's why I don't hate them for this. I don't think a certain way about them. I want to know their reasonings behind it. But it's always healthy to be questioning.
Yeah, I feel like once you stop questioning, then you stop like progressing.
Yeah, exactly. No, that's a good way to put it. Exactly. But yeah. So we're going about the acceleration upwards for what that would be the Flat Earth Society claiming is what gravity actually is, and there's no gravity. Now, they're good at denying kind of saying gravity's fake, because gravity is one of the most unknown aspects of science. We don't know quite what it is. We had the original Newton's idea of gravity, which would be just mass attracts mass. The bigger the mass, the bigger the attraction. It pulls it to the center of the object, and that's why we're all stuck to the planet. Now, Einsteinian's way of doing it and think about it is that actually mass warps space-time, and objects then fall into the warp of space-time. That's like the new way of looking at it, which makes it even more difficult to test, really, you know what I mean? So that's how they can get away with it. They go, well, isolate gravity and manipulate it and show me a ball spinning around with water being able to stick to it by gravity. And because they know you can't. You know what I mean? Like, if they believe in gravity or not, if gravity's real, they know you can't demonstrate that, because we have something way more massive with way more gravitational pull at our feet. So there's no way you can get that gravity on the, on a working model on the Earth. So they know it's impossible either way. So that's why they try to come out and say, yeah, show me gravity working on a model, and then I'll believe you. You know what I mean? They believe in electrostatics, that the ground is negatively charged, the sky is positively charged, and everything has an electric current to them, which we kind of do, and that pulls you to the ground. And then they believe in density and buoyancy, which is real things. And since we're more dense to the air, you got the electrostatics, we go down. The problem is, what? Yeah, question.
I was gonna say it's not completely asinine.
No, it's actually not a bad it's way better than saying that the plane is accelerating infinitely at 9.8 meters per second squared forever until we're 13 times the speed of light. You know what I mean? And I was actually listening to a debate about it today with Witsit and some other guy. And when he started bringing that up, the guy actually, the Globe guy that was supposed to be defending Globe, actually just flipped out and said he's done. And I'm like, dude, like, as a Globe guy myself, you just made us look bad because you just basically look like you got shit on by just kind of giving up when he brought up this electrostatics and stuff. You know what I mean? I understand gravity's very hard to prove with just what we have. You know, gravity has to be observed to prove it more likely, and we still don't get it right when we're observing these. You know, we kind of get them right. That's how we discovered. Which one did we discover? Neptune. We discovered Neptune because we're like, well, Uranus is moving in an odd way, and it would make sense if there was something here with this kind of gravitational pull, and then we looked over there and we saw it. So that's how we kind of prove gravity. They like to say, well, gravity's a theory. It's just a theory. Yeah, but in science, a theory is something that could be, you know, is observed and repeatable. It's not just some, like, loosely used theory, just made up nonsense. It's in science, theory has a meaning to it. There's a hypothesis, and if you can kind of observe and replicate your hypothesis, and it's used mostly, it becomes a theory. But I do kind of like, I do like the electrostatics thing. The only problem with it is, as you get farther away from the surface, it greatly falls off. So when you had like that Red Bull guy who, I forgot how far up he went. Remember he jumped from the edge of space?
Oh, that was sweet, yeah.
For something like that, he's too far away for electrostatics to work. Why would he still fall down? Now they're claiming, well, it's because he's more dense in the air, so he goes down. But my thing is, if there's no gravity, electrostatics are too weak at that point. If he's more dense in the air below him, but the air above him is less dense, wouldn't it cause resistance to go down because, you know, it's more dense below than above? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it would, for me, that would make some kind of issue where you wouldn't really want to go down, and you know what I mean? Because it's harder to go down. Wouldn't it be like a path of least resistance thing? For me, I don't know. It's caused by gravity. You know, your manipulation of space time causing a void and you falling into it is like the new way of explaining gravity, which is something you really have to try to wrap your head around, right? It's no longer just mass attracts mass. And we kind of see that in observable in black holes.
Mm-hmm.
Right, as you get to the event horizon, for the object falling in, time would appear to speed up, but of observing it, time slows down. If that makes sense, because of how it's manipulating space time.
And your body would get stretched like crazy.
You want to just dump into a black hole?
I'll fucking do it right now.
Because, and then I'm gonna, and Dave will bring this up or say something about it, but I'm extremely fascinated with the way space works, and you know, I'm an alien enthusiast, and flat Earth would obviously destroy all that stuff for me, right? It wouldn't exist. But another play on words they like to use, alien, a-lie-in, right? They like to use that. It's just a lie. Aliens.
All these fucking flat earthers are just English teachers. Just pointing out fucking play on word after play on word. God damn it, do an experiment.
Like planet is plain T, and plain T, like a plane, when you have a T on it, is like a line segment. So they say, oh, it's plain T, planet. It's a plane with an end.
Like, how big of a leap do you need to make? Just fuck, god damn it. It's so aggravating. Ugh.
But To give it to them, a lot of stuff they come up with is there's some interesting stuff they come up with to explain certain things. And electrostatic and electromagnetics, they can manipulate. They can isolate it, manipulate it. They can make things float and fall based on it, and that's what they consider to be proof that this is what brings us to the planet and the plane. And you can't do the same with gravity, so therefore gravity doesn't exist.
I could prove gravity right now. Walk to a bus stop. Done. Fuck's sake.
No, it's electrostatics. Electromagnetics holding to the ground. Another big thing they like to talk about is you cannot have a pressure system next to a vacuum. Obviously you have an atmosphere. They don't believe that the vacuum of space, you can have that with an atmosphere. It would just get violently ripped away from the planet, all the air and stuff, and fill the available space. That's what happens in a vacuum if you release air. But again, that they deny gravity. And it's convenient for them to deny gravity, because if they say no gravity, all this stuff can't actually happen, so then it falsifies the globe, right? Gravity's the container. Gravity's the reason why the air sticks to the planet, and gravity explains the pressure gradient as you get farther away from the planet. If it was a dome, using their same logic, wouldn't the pressure, air pressure, be the same all the way through to the dome? Why does pressure decrease as you get farther away from the flat plane? If it was a dome, it's the container. They talk about how air fills the available space. They're kind of contradicting themselves here, because now plane, the air pressure would be the same across the entire gradient of the air up to the dome. It should be the same, right?
Yes.
That's what I've been thinking. If you use gravity now, and having the space being a vacuum, and I think a lot of flat earthers, Dave doesn't, but a lot of flat earthers confuse what vacuum actually is. Space is just nothing. I think people think, oh, space is a vacuum, like your vacuum cleaner, where it sucks. You know what I mean? It's not. It's just a void. It's empty of everything. So you got that gradient because as you get farther away from the Earth, gravity's less, and that's why the air, you got less air pressure up there. It is getting affected by the emptiness of space. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then the gravity, as you get closer, it's more dense because it's pulling it down. Same thing with water pressure. On a flat plane with density and buoyancy, why is it you get much higher, pressure as the farther you go, into the water? So much so that when, you're in the Titan sub and you're visiting the freaking Titanic, you get crushed, right?
Ooh.
You know what I mean? Ooh. But it's an example of that. That's all that water pressure.
Yes.
And they're going to claim what? Density, and the more density on top causes more. But they can't use weight, because weight is dependent on gravity. You can't use weight as a flat earther. So if you're going to explain to me why there's so much water pressure, and when you get down farther, you can't say, oh, all the weight of the water above it's pushing on you, because weight is a direct correlation to gravity.
Debunked.
I mean, they have. I'll ask Dave. Maybe he has a good explanation.
I'd love to hear it. Do you think Dave likes Ovaltine?
Oh, you would have to. I haven't met a man who has tried it and said they don't like it.
I've met a man who's tried it and his body rejected it.
Yes, but he still likes it.
That's true.
He still likes it, but his body rejects it because his body it cannot compete with the nutrients and the vitamins that has been put into his body. And therefore, since his body's puny, the body's rejecting it because it can't handle being that buff.
Being that swole. That's what's keeping us on the planet. It's not gravity, it's not static electricity, it's Ovaltine. The pure vitamins and minerals are keeping us grounded, folks.
So what about the people who don't drink it?
They're fucked. They're going to start flying up.
you guys got to start drinking it because you start floating off into the firmament, and you get stuck.
When they fly up, it's going to look like they're getting raptured. Meanwhile, they're dying in space. We're down here drinking Ovaltine.
Yeah.
So
Now,
long, fuckers.
that reminds me of the other claim that they have is that they show that gravity doesn't exist and it's all electromagnetics. Is that when a lightning strike strikes near you, you go flying in the air, and they claim it's because it changes for that split second. It changes the polarity of the ground below you to positive from negative, and you're no longer attracted to the earth, so you go flying in the air. Now, I think it's just because there's a fucking shockwave.
Yeah, what the fuck?
But that's what I think. Dave would, let me know that no, it's because it's changing the polarity of the ground. I don't know how many more you want me to go. I can go into a ton more, but same thing with the moon. They believe the moon is its own light source. They believe there's no way a dusty, dirty rock 240,000 miles away can reflect sunlight enough so that at night they can read a book by it. They can see, they can read the words on a book, and it's lit up, and it's just a dirty, dusty rock. So they're trying to say it's the moon's its own light source. And on top, to negate the fact that if the sun's local, it'll just heat us up until we boil to death and die, they say that the moonlight is cool. And they have experiments, quote unquote, showing that if you take a temperature reading at night in the shade, the temperature's higher than if you take a temperature of the surface in the moonlight. Therefore, the moon's cold. That's easily debunked in the fact that the reason for that is if it's got moonlight shining on it, it's open directly to the sky, so the heat can dissipate off of that surface faster that was absorbed from the sun during the day than if it was shaded, because now there's something covering it which holds the heat in longer and not dissipate the heat faster. Right?
My head hurts.
I have reasoning. I've looked into these things, and it makes sense to me to say it like that. Now, I don't know if Dave will call me an idiot for saying that, but if it's open to the sky, there's nothing above it, so heat can dissipate faster. There's nothing holding it.
I also have something on the lightning strike.
Yeah.
My father, who's been struck by lightning twice.
He hasn't won the lottery yet?
No, he hasn't. He did not go flying. He kind of stayed in place. So, debunked.
My dad was also not completely struck, I guess you could say. So, you remember our shore house?
Mm-hmm.
You've been there. We had the outdoor shower.
Yes.
So, if for those who don't know, like a lot of houses on like down the shore when you can get into the salt water to swim and stuff, and no more. I don't think the rules or regulations or whatever allow for these outdoor showers. But back when they were originally being built in like the 50s, 60s, and 70s, they had outdoor showers to rinse off all the salt water before going in the house. My dad was in the outdoor shower, and I was like, "Yo, you might want to hurry up because it ain't looking too good." So a lightning struck somewhere nearby, and he said all the hair stood up on his body, and he just, next thing you knew, he was just laying on the floor inside the shower.
Jesus.
I don't think he went flying because he would have hit his head on the roof of the shower and probably snapped his neck. You know what I mean? So there's that, and then we were struck once, and we were young in the truck. We were in a Ford Ranger. It got struck by lightning. And it shut the radio off and gave us nosebleeds, but the truck didn't go flying through the air.
Could you imagine if that were the case? Like lightning hits the ground and everything around you just starts flying upwards. Oh, fuck.
Yeah, that would suck.
Be terrifying.
Yeah, that would really suck. But yeah, the Earth and the moon and the sun are local. They're the same size. the moon is cold light somehow, and the sun's hot light, and that's how it doesn't overheat into a boiling pot inside this glass dome from the sunlight, because the moon cools it.
I don't think so.
No, I mean we can verifiably see that it's not. The moonlight is not cold.
No. Because then there's hot days and there's hot nights. And on those
not
hot
right now though.
Not right now. Right now it's fucking cold out.
The fucking wind sucked all day.
Dude, the garage was cold as shit today. I didn't want to go in there.
And I like I said, I can go all night. I'm assuming you want to wrap this up.
Well, we're gonna turn this into a series.
Yes, it's gonna be a series. But I wanted to get into like each topic maybe more in depth. But I just wanted to bring up this last part because they like to say it a lot. They like to say water finds its level and water doesn't bend. So there's no way on a sphere the water would be able to, not bend because, again, they don't believe in gravity. And by saying gravity, everything's pulled down to the surface evenly across the sphere, so it is level, but it's just curved around the globe. They say no, it's impossible. But for me, we know tides exist. Like, we see that, right? You see a tide. If they don't believe in gravity, which is caused, the moon and the sun cause tides, what is the point, especially since they say water always finds its level, how is it possible that there's this random bulge of water floating around the flat plane without anything causing it? You know what I mean? Like, we see tides work. They don't believe in gravity. They say water finds level. It's always flat. What the fuck is that bump? What is that bulge of water that's, a couple feet high that floats all over the place randomly without any reason for it? You know what I mean? That can't work on a flat plane.
No, it
can't. And that's something I'm going to have to ask Dave when we do when we do our interview in December, which we have booked up.
Yes. I gotta find more questions to ask him because I just wanna get to the bottom of this.
Yeah, questions to him, but make sure you brush up on your globe model stuff because he will grill you on that.
It's fine
because he knows a lot about he knows a lot about the globe model. You know what I mean? He's not just flat Earth. He studies both. Most of the flat earthers study both. Because they'll ask you questions about the globe, be like, oh, if you believe in the globe, what's this? And you won't answer it. And they know it. Then they'll be like, oh, you just blindly believe in the globe. You're a cult.
The cult of the globe.
The globe cult, yeah.
What a boring cult to be a part of.
Now, what I think, the whole conspiracy behind the flat earth movement, I believe probably, like Dave, truly believe the Earth's flat. But I think what really happened is to start this movement again, because it wasn't really, when we were in like middle school and high school, was flat Earth talked about at all? I really don't remember it. I think it was something that started just after we graduated, and then it really started taking off just recently. I think what we got going on here is another psyop by the CIA or something. They put it out there, hey, the Earth's flat, and started this whole flat Earth movement. And then other people took it up, and now you got these guys who like truly probably believe in it and actually spend their lives dedicated to trying to prove with these experiments that the Earth's flat. And I believe they do this for the sole purpose of grouping all conspiracy theorists together into this flat Earth nonsense. So then when we try to find the truth behind these other conspiracies that probably could be true, especially government ones, like them covering stuff up, it's automatically like a poison the well situation where everything up, you're a tinfoil hat, you're a conspiracy theorist, you're a freaking lunatic, and they don't want to listen to you.
That's a good point.
And I think that's why I think the whole flat Earth movement is a CIA psyop. It was put out to debunk all conspiracy theories, just to make us look like complete psychopaths all the time. Where's your tinfoil hat?
Tinfoil hat. You know what's funny? I was at work today, and not to get totally off topic.
No, you're good.
But I was talking to a couple of my mechanics because I was talking that we do a podcast, and they're like, "Oh, what about blah blah blah?" I was getting into details. So then my boss comes out, who's ex-military, and he gets in on the conversation, and he's like, "Look, I could tell you this right now: the majority of the shit you hear, conspiracy-wise, is mainly true, but." Especially in the military, they make it so hush-hush that, like, if you say anything, like, they kill you, they kill your family, they erase you. He's like, but the majority of the shit you hear is true. And he's like, if you're a conspiracy theorist, you're just smart, essentially. Like, you're just awake to the shit going on around you versus, blindly being like, oh, you're stupid, that's stupid. And then... You're just a sheep.
Exactly, and that's why I think this conspiracy was made. And we got a bunch of I have a bunch of people that tell me this all the time. If you're a conspiracy kitchen podcast, if you're a conspiracy guys, how can you not believe in flat Earth? And I try to explain to them all the time. I was like, because we don't just blindly believe in something because it's opposite of the mainstream narrative. You know what I mean? As a conspiracy person or conspiracy-minded person. I wouldn't even call it a theorist. As someone like us who are more apt to want to question mainstream narratives, we don't just blindly follow either side. You know what I mean? We look into and try to solve, that's why we're trying to find these secret ingredients, on why something is the way it is. Just because it's the opposite of the mainstream narrative doesn't mean we're going to believe it.
Yeah. If you do that, you blindly follow it, you're not much of a conspiracy theorist.
Yeah, you're just doing the same thing. You're just a sheep on the other side. That's why I don't just blindly believe in flat Earth. I have to be able to see it with my own eyes and believe it.
Yes.
And I haven't seen it.
I completely agree.
I have not seen it. So, again, that's why I'm not... There's other things I believe in. There's conspiracies I don't believe in. And there's conspiracies I do believe in. That's because I can look and I try to sit there and look at the facts and be like, that really doesn't seem like it's possible. You know what I mean? Or let me look through the mainstream reasons for this. Oh, these are plausible explanations. Those are not possible explanations. And you move forward. You know what I mean? And you can't just group every single conspiracy together and believe in them all.
Yeah, just because you believe
in.
Just because you believe some of them doesn't mean you have to believe all of them.
Exactly, and I think that's the part of this whole thing with the flat Earth, is that they try to group everything together, and it's just you're a psychopath who believe all birds are government drones that charge on the power lines.
Well, that one's true.
And if you know what I mean, and if you question anything, they automatically have in their heads, like what the Gremlin Grunt shared that one time on X. They were passing around in the schools, don't be a conspiracy theorist, and it was these two freaking kids with these tinfoil hats on, and I'm like, yeah, exactly, this is the thing they're going to do. They don't want you questioning anything that's not mainstream, so they're going to try to clump it all together and basically say that all conspiracy theorists are just insane lunatics that will never listen to any type of authority and ruin everyone's lives.
Look, I'm just going to say it. Since the government shutdown, I haven't seen that many pigeons. It's
not a coincidence that, it's getting cold.
Well, with the curvature of the Earth now. God damn.
Is it all birds or just pigeons?
Just pigeons.
Just pigeons.
Pigeons are the drones.
The pigeons are the drones. So like the blue jays and the cardinals and the woodpeckers and the crow, and they're all real birds.
Yeah, they're just pleasant. Not a woodpecker. Okay. That one's fucking annoying. But the rest are just pleasant.
Okay.
Pigeons are government drones.
Maybe we'll get into that.
Eventually we will. We'll jump off that bridge when we come to it.
But we do have a whole bunch of topics we were discussing for next episodes, and we're going to do this obviously as a series. But like I said, I don't think we're going to do this every episode's not going to be Flat Earth until we're done with it. We're going to break it up a little bit and just throw other episodes in there, just so we don't get too stale or boring with it. And we do have a lot of content coming forward, and we have some other stuff planned, right, Josh? Maybe we'll release soon, since it's almost our season 2, episode 1 start. Which actually, oh man, I think what's today? Has it been a year?
Has it? Oh, let me.
When was our first? Let me just take a quick look here at our first episode upload. Go back. Okay, never mind. It's been 11 months to the date. December 11th was our first episode upload.
Oh.
A year ago. So we're at 11 months exactly right now. So season 2 will be coming your way soon, which will start with probably some Flat Earth stuff, and in and out. But since it's almost our 1 year, I really, you guys have been great. Our listeners are great. The British, the U.S. listeners, the Turks and Caicos listeners, wherever you guys came from. we were number one. We were number one comedy in Turks and Caicos, which is pretty cool. We got that information. I got emailed from the hell was that? Some pod data website or something. That was pretty cool to see. So you guys are rock. Obviously, yeah. If you guys follow and haven't rated us yet, I just ask you to rate us, please. On here, on Apple Podcast. If you're a normal listener, like I see, engaged listeners, I think they call it, that listen but don't follow, please just give us a follow and a comment. You can and a rating on here. Follow us on X, Instagram, Facebook. We're gonna be getting more stuff out. Maybe some merch. Maybe, perhaps. What? No. Perhaps. I have been asked about merch.
Have you?
So we might be getting. I have, yes. So that could be a possibility. We could be working on something there for you guys.
Yes, we're coming out with the Conspiracy Kitchen Cuck Chair that you can have in your own home.
The Cuck Chair. The Cuck Chair t-shirt. If you guys have listened to the Apollo episode, you know what we're talking about. If you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to get a better idea on what we're talking about there.
Yes, you get it for your own home. Just put it in the corner.
And just drink that Ovaltine, guys. Any Liquid Death? You have any Liquid Death?
I had some earlier. I finished it. I switched to Crystal Light.
Yeah, Crystal Light's better.
Well, it is.
They haven't responded, so that's why the Crystal Light's better.
I want to get sponsored by Crystal Light. I told you. Them and Ovaltine. If I got sponsored by either of those, I could die a happy man.
Yep. So, but yeah, guys, we got a lot of stuff coming your way still. Don't worry. This is always going to be our number one thing now. Even if we do expand into other stuff, the podcast will always be number one to us.
Yes.
But we got guest appearances coming up on other shows. Stay tuned for those dates and stuff if you want to jump over and support whoever's podcast we go on to do our guest episodes on. We got some, like I said, we got Flat Earth Dave coming on. We have some other Flat Earthers on here. Try to get some good globe guys on here too, just to break it up so we can get the truth behind each side and see what let you guys decide what you want to listen to or what you believe in or don't believe in. And yeah, we'll just keep it going. We should be able to. We're trying to get another. Since we're late this week, I think we should try to get an episode out by the end of the week to get 2 out this week, just to kind of keep it on track, if we can. And yeah, I mean, that's all we got going on for today. I guess we got that nice overview. We'll dig deeper into some of these more consistent stuff. If you have any questions about Flat Earth or have any evidence or proofs of Flat Earth, if you're a Flat Earther, you leave it in the comments on here on Spotify. Go over to X, message us, or comment on when I put the link up for this episode on X.
Goodbye.
That's all the Flat Earth I got for today. See ya.